think we can say one thing for sure about the 2025 Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They are scrappy. They put up a fight. And when all things look lost, they got themselves back in the game. They actually took the lead in the Eastern semifinal, but they ultimately fall to the Montreal Alouettes, who look really, really good. 42-33, your final score. Welcome inside Game Day After Dark. This is your live Blue Bombers post-game show on Bonfire Sports. Darrin Bauming alongside Zach Schnitzer. Schnitzy, before we get into the greater conversation that, of course, we will need to get to, and that is, of course, where the Winnipeg Blue Bombers go from here. From 5 straight Grey Cup appearances, 2 wins, then 3 straight losses, to a pretty much a 500 season where this team looked like a shadow of its former self over the past half decade. But this game, a game where the Alouettes knocked the crap out of the Blue Bombers in the first half. Winnipeg made it a football game, came back, but ultimately lost.
Yeah, it's brutal, man. Like, this game would have been easier to stomach as a fan if the Bombers had been absolutely shit kicked like they were in the first half, Darrin.
You're saying it would be easier to digest if
it
was
would
just
be
that way the
easier
whole
to
game?
digest, because here's what happened for me emotionally. And maybe folks chime in on the chat, because I was like, okay, yeah, they suck. We thought this might happen. We thought the offense might stagnate. Now the defense hasn't shown up really, whether that's scheme, personnel, execution, whatever it is, Darrin. I kind of accepted it. But then you have this miraculous comeback with 3 touchdowns in 3 minutes and 37 seconds at the beginning of the third quarter. Bombers are up by 2. And I start to believe.
Yeah, as you should.
I start to think, okay, they've taken Davis Alexander's best shot. Davis Alexander, who was running his mouth, and I loved every minute of the Bombers biting back, kicking in the door like Willie Jefferson said, and taking everything off the table. I thought, here we go. The Bombers are ahead. It's the second half. Maybe they can get Brady bully ball going, and they can upset this Montreal team, who's arguably more talented. And then I'm starting to think about Hamilton, that they can beat Hamilton, because they have. And then I'm thinking, Grey Cup at home with that crowd. Like, I started to believe, Darrin. And then the next drive after the Bombers go up by 2, Davis Alexander drives it, I believe it was 74 yards in 4 plays, gets the touchdown. Bombers made some questionable decisions after that. Brady fumbles. Willie Jefferson takes that inadvertent face mask penalty, which would arguably be the bonfire burning point. And at the end of the day, the Bombers lose by 2 scores. And it sucks. And I'm exhausted. This season has been exhausting, Darrin.
You know, I find it interesting you call it exhausting, because I was talking to Mark Chipman day before yesterday, just like, past him in the halls of the Winnipeg Jets press box. And by the way, thank you to everybody for sticking around, hanging out, waiting for us as I wrote my game story for NHL.com. As Jets came away with a victory over the Pittsburgh Penguins, the battle of the top 2 teams in the National Hockey League. Crazy. Winnipeg dominant in that sense tonight. Super Sports Saturday here, Schnitzy. Hopefully, I think it would be great if the Blue Jays pulled out a win in Game 7 of the World Series and, helped Bomber fans at least digest what's happened today a little bit. But, Mark, we talked about a couple things, but one thing I'll share is that, he's like, well, I was like, how was your summer? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, how's the Bombers? And I'm like, it's been an interesting year, because you never know what you're going to get from week to week. Maybe they'll get pummeled. Maybe they'll beat the Ticats, beat the pants off the Ticats. Maybe it'll be a squeaker. Maybe something crazy will happen. They'll make They'll throw the ball 6 times and have 3 completions and return kicks for touchdowns and pull out a win. Like I can imagine as a fan, it was exhausting. As a reporter, as a pundit, as somebody who just opines and reports on the team, it was incredibly interesting. I imagine incredibly exhausting for Bomber fans.
Well,
Like Glenn says here, exhausting because you care so much.
yeah,
Yeah.
we do care, and when your hopes get up, and it's a home Grey Cup, and despite all the bumbling this year, Darrin, the play calls from Jason Hogan, the underutilization of Brady Oliveira, the turnovers, the inconsistent play, some of the coaching decisions, the personnel moves that were made in the offseason or that weren't made in the offseason.
Oh,
I want to get into that because
sorry,
we
Schnitzy.
have different ideas on that.
I apologize. I muted you just for a second there after you
Okay.
said off season. I apologize.
Okay, so I'm just saying, oh wow. Frosty
Thank
with
you,
the
Frosty.
amazing super chat. Holy Dinah. Wow.
$100 from Frosty Winnipeg. I'm feeling real frosty right now. Thank you.
From all our friends at WST Discord. Love it. I love Discord.
Amazing.
I don't watch
Thank
sports
you.
without my Discord on. And I did today because I was so riveted. But Jets game, baseball game, other CFL game, NFL game. Yeah, I'm on the Discord. Wow, Frosty, that's really special. Frosty also donated some prizes for our watch party at Silver Heights a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
So Frosty, great friend of the show.
Oh.
Great friend of the show. I mean, what I was going to say, Darrin, is despite everything, despite all of the missteps, the offseason where they didn't spend to the cap, the coaching errors, the lack of use of Brady, the inconsistency from Zach Collaros, the turnovers, all of the things that were making the Bombers sometimes, unbearable to watch even and not believe in. They were up by 2 after being down by 19 with Montreal just playing with their food in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to get hopeful. And then, at the end of the day, they just didn't have the horses to match the Alouettes, Darrin, and full credit to the Alouettes. Listen, Davis Alexander was cocky before the game. He was running his mouth at Willie Jefferson. And I thought, man, what are you doing? You don't want to wake up Willie Jefferson. We all know what happens in big time games for Willie Jefferson. He could have been the Grey Cup MVP last year, Darrin. But he backed it up, man. His team was down by 2 after being up by 19. The crowd was getting antsy. Fans are starting to think, okay, like this is an ultimate Bombers comeback. And Alexander just backed up his mouth, right? And he continued to drive the field on this Bombers defense. And honestly, Darrin, let me just finish with this. This was a surprising game. I wasn't surprised the Bombers lost by 2 scores. If you would have told me ahead of time they're going to lose by 2 scores, I'd been like, yeah, fine. I'm not surprised given the way the Bombers have played this year. But for the defense to give up over 550 yards to the Alouettes, right? For Zach Collaros, another surprise, throws over 300 yards and a touchdown, no picks. I mean, that last pick, what was in, garbage time, basically. I don't count that, Darrin. Throws over 300 yards with no picks without his top receiver in Nick Dembski. Garrick Wheatfall's a guy that goes off. Okay. And you tell me the Bombers lose, like it's just a bizarre game where the defense that was really the backbone of the team all year, Darrin, got absolutely shredded. And the passing game, which kept turning the ball over and kept throwing for under 250 yards, goes for over 300. A couple of big shots from Collaros without Dembski. Like this game was bizarre. But then again, there were things that were absolutely on trend. Brady Oliveira getting 8 touches in a game when he's arguably your best player against a Montreal defense without Sean Oakman, one of the best interior run stoppers of the CFL,
And why were
without
they without
Mustafa
him,
Johnson.
Zach? Why were they
Hey,
without Sean Oakman,
yeah.
who was
I'm
named a
just saying,
division all-star 2 days ago?
I thought that the Bombers were in a perfect position to maybe run the ball, get Brady bully ball going up by 2 in the middle of the third quarter, and they just couldn't get it done. Then you have your veterans making key mistakes. Brady fumbles, uh, uh, Willie Jefferson with the inadvertent face mask, which could have been the bonfire burning point. It's just a bizarre game, man. And uh, I'll just say this: like, all year, the defense propped up this team. And when the defense needed to be propped up by the offense and special teams, they just didn't have the horses to get it done. They didn't have the scheme to get it done, and they didn't
Not
have
a
the
three-phase
coaching.
football team anymore.
No,
No.
they just couldn't get it done.
You know who is
Wow,
three-phase? Playing
Westy,
the fire starters. Scott Westman, $69.99. Thank you very much.
wings and
Wings
beer
and
at the Heights.
beer.
He says,
Wings and beer at the Heights. I love
dude,
it.
we should have a end of season little get
Mm-hmm.
together there
Yep, we should.
with all our friends here. That's very generous, Westy.
It
I will
really
buy
is.
you a beer with some of that super chat money.
No doubt. Thank you. Thank you so much. And after that super chat, Waiter says, "What the hell, Scott? That was our dinner next week." Well, it's
Waiters,
ours now. Thanks, guys.
waiters.
Appreciate you.
Darren, can I just say something before we break down the game even more?
Yep.
I want to just say that on behalf of you and I at Bonfire, Darren, our hearts really go out to the family of 17-year-old Darius Hartzhorn, who tragically lost his life on Wednesday after an accident on the football field.
Yeah.
It is just unbelievably tragic and harrowing, and I just can't even imagine what that's like for his family and just I think I could speak for all the fire starters, just all of us in the football family in this province. Our hearts go out to Darius's family and friends and schoolmates and coaches and teachers, everybody in his community. And there is a GoFundMe. I posted it on my X profile. So if you are able to throw a few shekels their way to help out, I would encourage you to do that. And yeah, just sending love to his family, man. That's just brutal.
Thanks for saying that, buddy. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, of
I
course.
echo those sentiments. The Hartshorn family, the Sisler Spartans family, high school football, amateur football, professional football in this province, this city, this country. Everybody feeling it. For those that aren't familiar with what happened, this young man was injured returning a kick, and he wears number 57, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't see the play. I don't know exactly what happened, but he's not a kick returner, and just a freak accident happened. He was in hospital, had high fever, swelling of the brain. They induced coma. They then took him out of induced coma. And he did not wake up on his own. So, just incredibly heartbreaking. And yeah, echoing those sentiments you shared, Schnitzy. And I'm going to find your tweet and retweet it. I might even grab it. Remind me later. I'll grab it. I'll put it in the video description below here if you guys are watching this later, or you want to come back if you're watching live right now to help that GoFundMe. Sister High School, not exactly in the most affluent neighborhood in Winnipeg. So I'm sure every dollar, every sentiment would mean a lot for the Hartshorn family. Tough to segue out of that, but we have to. This game, it ended on a Zach Collaros interception, and I'll pull that up right now. When it ends on an interception like that, it's yeah, call it garbage time, but they were pushing, right? They were really pushing. But it's almost too on the nose that this season ends on a Zach Collaros interception.
Yeah.
His season was just simply polarizing. Greatness mixed with turnovers. And from game to game, you never knew what you would get from Collaros. You never knew what you would get from the Bombers offense. You never knew what you would get from the Blue Bombers overall. But I think it was also emblematic, this game of the season, reflective of the season, that, it didn't start very well. People were like, you remember the conversations we were having in July, right? It's, why didn't Winnipeg spend to the salary cap? Why didn't they get a better contingency plan at number 2 quarterback? Why did they hire a rookie offensive coordinator? Why didn't they do this? Why did, it's a Grey Cup year. And then they've started scrapping back and coming back and bringing it. I pulled up those third quarter stats because in the first half, it was a shit show.
Yeah.
And then Winnipeg just crushed Montreal in the third quarter. They had 3 touchdowns in like 3.5 minutes. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And in the end, they come up short, losing by, 2 scores, 42-33, losing by 9, 2 scores. You can call it 3 scores, but it's 2. And moments in those in the game, like this one stood out to me. And I kind of hate that it happened. You know why I hate that it happened? Because this is going to be ammunition for Stuart Johnston.
He probably just gave the biggest sigh of relief. Like, I literally heard him sighing with relief when that happened, Darrin.
Uh-huh.
All the way from Ontario. He must have loved that moment.
No doubt. No,
A doink.
no doubt about it. But moments that the Bombers fans did not love is when Davis Alexander and the Alouettes offense was on the field. People in the live chat calling for the head of Jordan Younger. I think that's foolhardy. I don't think Jordan Younger is going anywhere, nor do I think he should go anywhere. Jordan Younger is an incredible defensive coordinator, an incredible coach, an incredible motivator and teacher. One bad game where a guy who, let's remember, Davis Alexander coming into today was 8-0 this season. In those 8 wins, he had 4 300-yard passing games. People are like, well, he didn't play against this team, and he didn't play against that team, and he only played the dude. Look at the dude. Look at what he did today. And a big reason why he was able to do what he did today was because of moments like this, going deep to Austin Mack on a 50-yard strike. And then the next play, we're just going to hand it off to our tailback and he's going to gash.
Yeah.
What's his name? Stewie Scott?
Stevie Scott the third.
Stevie Scott. Good grief, man. The Montreal Alouettes dominated the line of scrimmage. They dominated their defensive line of scrimmage, and they dominated their offensive line of scrimmage. People will say Willie Jefferson and Cameron Lawson and Vaughters, and these guys, these individuals different individuals are. And then they'll say the same thing about the Blue Bombers offensive line and Adeyemi Berglund, who was an absolute menace to the Bombers tonight. And they'll talk about Oliveira and they'll talk about play calling. The reality is, you can name all of these individuals. The Montreal Alouettes had the better game plan. They were better prepared. They played more consistently. And they played more physically. The Blue Bombers got pushed around today. They got out-physicaled.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's well said, Darrin. And I've been someone that has absolutely backed up Jordan Younger all year, because this offense has been tepid at best. It's had its, geyser moments You know, that game where they scored 36
Mhm.
on Edmonton, the game where they scored 40 on BC, the Labor Day Classic, which was a classic. The offense woke up, but the defense bailed this team out time and time again. Folks, you can't just look at this game. Like, and let me say this. Do I think that they need to have a better pass rush, and do they need to send 4 or 5 guys more? I do. I don't know if they have the players to do it, and they need to address that in the offseason. That's a personnel issue. But and because when they did blitz Davis Alexander, he threw an interception. He was uncomfortable. He was missing guys. It was working at times,
And then this
right?
happens. You send
But then
5 and
you
he
yeah,
says, "That's okay. I'm just going to take it."
when a
This is what I'm saying,
quarterback.
and I'm sorry to interrupt. Everybody in the live chat, like so many people in the live chat saying lack of pressure, huge problem. Like our buddy Pat says. Pat also said, like, well, it's hard when you only rush 3. David Martino, great to see you in the live chat, David. Thanks for joining us. When 3 rush the QB, it's easy to dominate the line. But then when Winnipeg sends 5 and they blitz, Montreal has an answer.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think it can get lost on fans sometimes when you're like, oh, the QB's got all day back there and he's just dicing us up. Winnipeg plays a different strategy of defense where they only rush 3 and they drop 9. There are not 9 receivers downfield. Believe me, nowhere near it. Winnipeg plays a coverage defense. That's the style they play. And it works very well when it works. And when it doesn't, it's not just cut and dry. Well, they shouldn't do that entire system anymore. You can't, it works. And then sometimes it doesn't because you find opponents or opponents find you and they figure you out. If they were a blitz happy team, it works until it doesn't. You don't
no,
just throw out the baby with the bathwater.
no,
I don't
you
think
got to
the
go.
defense is in any way, shape, or form the problem with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, nor do I think the DC or the system is going to be overhauled this year. The offense, the offensive line, that's where I'm spending my money this offseason. If I'm the
Absolutely,
GM, that's where I'm
absolutely.
focusing. And maybe
Listen,
Darius Jackson's the OC next year. Maybe it's someone else. We'll see.
yeah, we'll get into that because I think we have to have a conversation about
Oh, yeah.
Jason Hogan. Uh, just on the defense, Darren. I mean, the thing I wanted to say was you gotta, you gotta, you gotta give some respect to that Montreal offense as well, right? Like, again, do I think we should have had more pressure at times? Yeah, I don't know if we had the guys to do it, Darren. Uh, it's also really hard when you're playing a mobile quarterback like Davis Alexander because, as you showed in that clip, you could rush 5 or 6, and then if he breaks contain, he's gonna gash you, just like he did there in that clip you're showing against Kyrie Wilson, who's one of the best tacklers in the CFL. He just
Well,
completely juked him. That was a
yep.
real game breaker.
And that was rushing
So
3.
yeah, and if you go back to the Grey Cup, you could say, well, Nick Arbuckle had way too much time, and I think he did. I think they should have blitzed more. So I'm not saying it's not a valid concern, especially in the biggest games of the season, the Grey Cup and this Eastern semifinal. At the same time, folks, the Bombers' defense was lights out this year. Let me just read off some stats, and people might say, who cares about stats, Zach? I do, because these stats are the reason why the Bombers were 10-8, Darren. Okay? The Bombers allowed 15 and a half points per game over their last 4 contests. And I get there were some backups there, but still. 62.2% completion percentage against, which was 6% better than the next best team, which is coincidentally Montreal. They only allowed 21 pass touchdowns, which is the best in the CFL.
Mhm.
And keep in mind, folks, the offense kept hanging the defense out to dry, whether they went 2 and out or they threw costly interceptions or fumbled the ball and gave the opposing offense short fields. They gave up the second least pass yards against. They gave up the least offensive points in the league. They had the least offensive touchdowns allowed, 34, and the least first downs. And guess what? They were the best team on second down in the league. Opposing offenses only converted second down 43.6%. 43.6% of the time.
And
The
can I also
defensive
add, can I
metrics
add to
were
that?
good.
I think Tony Jones could have been, should have been the CFL's most outstanding defensive player. He was number 2 in the league in defensive plays, number 2 in tackles, and number 2 in defensive plays behind Micah Awe. BC Lions defense was on the field a lot this year. Winnipeg's defense, much less. And he was right there with him in defensive plays, in tackles. Played the whole season, consistent. And think about the shoes he stepped into. He stepped into Adam Bighill's shoes. Irrelevant of how Bighill played later in the year last season, he had to take over that role in training camp, in the meeting room, on the field at practice, in the game. Tony Jones is a star in this league, a superstar in the Canadian Football League. And I'm one of 4 voters in Winnipeg, members of the FRC. There's also the head coach that gets a vote. Evan Holm was not in my top 2. I thought Tony Jones was my MOP and my most outstanding defensive player for the Blue Bombers this year. And it's a shame beyond the local voting. The overall voting system, as a member of the Football Reporters of Canada executive, I'm lobbying hard to change how the voting system is implemented and rolled out. Because if you have the 2 best running backs in the CFL in the West Division, one of them's not going to be a league all-star. To me, that's so stupid.
Yeah.
And if
Absolutely.
I think the Blue Bombers have the 2 best MOP candidates, or say the BC Lions or the Calgary Stampeders have the 2 best MOP candidates, the stud quarterback and the DB with 12 interceptions, whatever. One of them is not getting any recognition because he's not even coming out of that market. I digress. Tony Jones, Retta Cramdy, Willie Jefferson leading the league again in knockdowns. Cam Allen as a rookie playing safety. There were a lot. Michael Griffin prior to him getting hurt late in the year. A lot of outstanding defensive performers this year.
Jaden Woodby too. Yeah.
Jaden Woodby came on amazing late, didn't he?
Yeah.
Came on amazing.
I agree with you, and I think that's a larger discussion. I think the voting is silly. I also think we should have one division, but that's for another day. Tristan Rivers music, shout out to you, buddy. Great stuff. Check him out on YouTube. I like the defense all year, and I know that people are disagreeing with us, Darren, and that's okay. I think you can't take one, although it's the biggest game and it's an elimination game. You can't just take one game and then say, "Oh, I'll fire Jordan Younger." I think Jordan Younger is going to be a head coach in this league, and I think he's going to be a good one. I think he's incredibly smart. I think he's on the forefront of what teams are doing defensively in pro football. I think you had guys like Retta Cramdy and Kyrie Wilson and James Vaughters and Evan Holm and Tony Jones play really good football this year. Retta Cramdy doesn't get a whole lot of recognition. Do I think they need to rush more? Yeah. Do I think twice in the biggest games of the year, 2024, 2025, they didn't get enough pressure? Yeah, I think they're going to look at that. I think they need to get a stud on the interior of the D-line because they were gashed in the run game today.
Well, they were dressing, this is not a knock on Canadians, but they were healthy scratching all of their American defensive tackles.
Yeah, and
what does that tell you? The talent wasn't good enough.
No.
I'm not saying that, you shouldn't have Canadians at defensive tackle. Some of the best defensive tackles in the history of this league are Canadian, or have been Canadian. Cameron Lawson, Jake Thomas, very good defensive linemen, very good tackles. But beyond those 2 guys, they had nobody.
Yeah, Devin Adams, Jamal Woods, they didn't really jump off the page, right? And I think that's a personnel issue, and I hope they address that in the offseason. I wish they had last offseason. But I did like the defense overall, and they really were the backbone of this team, folks. And the last thing I want to say about the defense is, it's like we're all watching the World Series now, right? Like You watched last night coming into Rogers Center. Yamamoto is one of the best pitchers in the league. In the biggest game of the year, elimination game, World Series on the line, the Blue Jays bats were absolutely humming against the Dodgers. And you see what a good pitcher could do. It doesn't matter if you have Vladdy or Clement or Bichette, right? I'm going to stop
Yeah.
talking about baseball because that's about all I know. But my point is, when you have a good pitcher, it can shut an offense down. And when you have a guy like Davis Alexander who hasn't lost, who can run the ball, who is accurate on the short to intermediate routes, and then has an absolute cannon of an arm, he can hit those deep routes perfectly. It's hard to stop, folks. And sometimes that's that's not an indictment of the defense, although I do think there should have been more pressure on Alexander, Darren.
Mm,
Sometimes you just get beat. And
yeah.
I don't know if that's so much about Younger as about the player personnel folks in on Chancellor Matheson who weren't able to load up this team with the talent that they needed to push guys around. You remember the Richie Hall defense, the dark side defense in 2021 and even in the end of
I know
2019.
you remember it because you talk about it. This isn't a knock on you. I'm not even playing. You talk about it so lovingly, so
Yeah, man.
affectionately, so
That
often.
was that was one of the best defenses in CFL history. And the only reason they don't have the best stats is because they had two meaningless games at the end of the year in 2021.
I just got to
But
say to Nick, he was the most outstanding defensive player on the Blue Bombers. Yes, he was. Tony Jones.
you remember what Richie Hall did? I don't think he ran complex schemes. He just had absolute beasts on the defensive line. Drake Nevis, Stove Richardson, and then
Casey
the Twin
Sales.
Towers, Casey Sales a bit later on. And then he had Willie Jefferson in his prime and Jackson Jeffcoat in his prime. And those
But it
guys
was
were
the
able to,
bend not break defense, and
but
that's what Jordan Younger's defense is.
well, what I'm saying is he rushed four all the time. He was able to get so much pressure with those four guys on a down to down basis that you could drop eight into coverage, and they were just elite. And
Mhm.
I think this is not an indictment of Jordan Younger, folks. I think you need to look at the player personnel, the management in this team, and say, why did they keep Devin Adams and Jamal Woods if they didn't even get on the roster in the most important games of the season?
Sometimes you expect something of someone and you don't get it.
Yeah.
Sometimes players have, like we don't know what's going on in their life. Like maybe shit hit the fan in their life. They had a bad year. I'm not making excuses. I'm simply stating what
Yeah, there
could be
could
the
be
case.
reasons for sure.
Guys underperform. When you talk about getting to the quarterback, right? We saw Willie Jefferson do it today, and yeah, that's probably your bonfire burning point when he took the face mask penalty, the roughing the passer. Pretty obvious that that's what happened. We showed it a minute ago. But Willie, like, because I'm not a Bomber fan, I didn't hate the Davis Alexander comments this week because he spoke a lot of truth. Like, yeah, he took a shot at Willie for sure, but I don't think he's entirely wrong. Willie plays a different style of game now, right? James
Yeah.
Vaughters is a 30 plus year old defensive end. He's a good player. I don't think that he's Clarence Hicks in Calgary. I don't think that he's Matthew Betts. He's not getting after the quarterback like that. He plays well in the
No.
system. He's responsible. He's reliable. He didn't miss any time this year. That's a good free agent signing. Winnipeg's defense, maybe they needed a rookie to pop in training camp. Maybe they needed, one of those PR guys to elevate their game. It didn't happen. The building a CFL roster, building a football roster, it is a delicate balance. You talk about limited salary cap, Canadians, Americans, DIs, all of that. Just saw a huge fumble on the kick return.
Oh
There
my
is a minute
God.
40 left in the fourth quarter. Calgary, BC tied at 27. Good gracious. Adrian Green
Oh my God.
turned the ball over. The Canadian corner, division all-star.
Darren, Nathan Rourke was
Oh,
on his
no,
own
not Green.
22, second and 4. BC was basically in a position to drive for a walk-off field goal win. He sacked by Jalen Hutchings for
Brooks.
7
Oh,
yards. They punt. Brooks recovered it and fumbled.
yeah.
Oh my goodness, that is insane.
Outstanding.
Like, look at
25 for
how
BC.
close Calgary was. Like this is unbelievable.
Whoever 25 is for BC, punch that ball out. I'm going to try to find it here.
Wow.
Wow. This game coming down to the wire to see who goes to Regina in the West Final. Rourke hands it off on 1st and 10. They're just inside their own 30. Minute 35 left. This is a tie game. Crazy.
Looks like it'll be a walk-off.
Yeah.
At one point, the line went down to BC -3.5, and I was going to jump on it, but then I got distracted, and kind of glad I didn't because it looks
So
like they're
Adam
going to win by
O'Clair
3.
and Josh Haggerty. Haggerty was a Blue Bomber for a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Was that last season? Was that this season?
I don't remember.
Got the long blonde hair. Huge
Crazy.
special teams play. Huge.
Crazy.
Anyway, oh, hey. Pyros. Tico Napoli, $10 super chat. Thanks, Paulie. Appreciate you, brother.
Paulie, what's up, buddy?
I just typed excited to see Jenkins and a couple other DL getting reps next season. Yeah, people like those guys they saw in the preseason game. Okay. Paul Wallman calling me out. Sorry, Darren, you lost all credibility when you said Jake Thomas is a good player. Wow. What are you smoking? Do you want me to sit here and say, well, this guy's bad. This guy's a bad player. Like, what do you want me to say? You want me to shit on a guy and then go face him tomorrow when they clean out the lockers? You want me to do that? It's not going to happen. I'm going to tell you if a player is elite, excellent, where they rank in the league, if I think they're going to help you win games, if they're going to be a game breaker or not, or I'm going to say he's a good player. Okay? That's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to say anybody's a bad player. They're a professional freaking football player. They're a pro. They're getting paid to play football. They're good. Is he very good? I don't think anybody would describe Jake Thomas at this stage in his career as very good. Okay? Good gracious. You know why I say he was good? Because he was better than the American guys. He was better than those American guys that played in the NCAA. And he came out of the AUS, the Atlantic University Conference. U Sports football, Canadian University football. Yeah, he's good. Sorry, bud. Sorry, Paul. Sorry.
Listen,
but I appreciate the comment. I appreciate the comment. If somebody
DB.
criticizes me, I'm going to pull it up. Maybe I'll have an answer for you. Maybe I won't. But for Paul, I did have an answer. I'm not going to say a guy's a bad player.
I think it's fair to say, and I love me some Jake Thomas. He's a great guy. He's been a great pro for the Bombers. He's the longest tenured Bomber. Heck, he was around in the Joe Mack era, man. Like, it's crazy how long Jake Thomas and to be able to stay on a roster like this.
Yeah.
At the same time, Darren, I think the other thing is that we know that Mike O'Shea loves vets. He can be very loyal. He likes guys that grind. He likes guys that work hard. He likes guys that watch film into the wee hours.
Yep.
And those things are great. Chris Strevler is one of those guys. But if Jake Thomas is the best you can do at the interior O-line, and I know Cam Lawson was coming on this year, then you gotta wonder about the personnel. And it's not a knock on Jake Thomas.
BC Lions just went up 30-27 with 67 seconds left. Sorry, go ahead.
All I'm saying is I think, if we drop down from Jordan Younger,
that's fair.
Even Jason Hogan, although I think we can talk about him in a second. There's personnel issues on this team, and I think you nailed it, Darren, when you said it's on the lines, right? Montreal, speaking of Montreal's offense, and I think we should get into the Bombers' offense in a second, but Montreal's offense this year, even with Davis Alexander, was 8th in the league in rushing. I mean, the teams in the East don't even really rush the ball, except maybe Greg Bell for Hamilton.
Wow.
8th in
Montreal
the league.
ran the ball today. Ooh, did
They
Montreal run the
they
ball today?
and why were they so effective? Because they physically dominated the Bombers.
Yeah,
Because
100%.
they have an elite O-line. And what does that remind you of, folks? When the game was on the
Mm.
line, when it was in the
What does
balance,
that remind you of?
Montreal bully balled a nobody, Stevie Scott the third, for 2
7.4
touchdowns.
yards per carry.
Yeah,
7.4. He had nearly 6 yards per carry through this season, a half a season that he played. Like
yeah,
500
they
yards.
they they
Yeah.
bully balled the bully ball team. And the reason we used to be able to bully ball, folks, was because we had an elite O-line.
Mhm.
We simply don't have that anymore. And you can talk about Jordan Younger and Jason Hogan and Mike O'Shea. At the end of the day, that's a personnel issue. You build teams in pro football, successful teams, dominant teams, you build them from the lines out. You need to have above average O line and D line play. The Montreal Alouettes lost two of their best D linemen today in Mustafa Johnson, who's a game wrecker, and Sean Oakman, who's one of the best run stopping
Well, and people were asking about Sean
interior.
Oakman. Sean Oakman was his contract was voided by the Alouettes at the request of the Canadian Football League because investigation revealed that he violated the Canadian Football League's gender-based violence policy. You can look online and read all about that. But in essence, the investigation determined that yeah, he was in violation of that. So named as CFL Division All Star, and then contract voided 2 days later.
Yeah. And we don't
You know,
even want to get into what he did
no,
because
no.
it's
Well, we don't.
horrifying and
I don't know what
disgusting.
he did.
Well,
There's
we know what we know what he was
let the
alleged to
reports
do,
come out.
and the CFL did an investigation and basically made sure that he was out of the league. But my point is that Montreal, without those two elite guys on their line, they still were able to stuff the Bombers' run game and push the Bombers around and make Zach uncomfortable. They stripped Zach twice. Okay? Like, that is what wins football games.
Yeah.
And you can look at Kyle Walters, you can look at Danny McManus, or you can look at Brock Sunderland or whoever there. They didn't give the Blue Bombers in a home Grey Cup year, Darren. They did not give them the horses to win. And you saw
On the O
that
line, are you
today
saying specifically, or
on the line, in the receiving core, in both lines, in the receiving core. They did not have the dudes. And Zach Collaros had a good game in spite of the receivers he had.
Stamps
Weefall
are
had
going to
his
tie this
best game
game?
of the year. What's that?
Stamps are going to tie this game right away.
No way.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy, man.
I can't pull it up live, obviously,
No.
but there's the reigning MOP in Brady Oliveira, and good play design. People were saying there was no screen game today. There was no check down. There's one, 19 yards. But the touches to Brady fell off because Winnipeg was in trail position the entire game. So, it throws your game plan off. Just seeing Vernon Adams Jr. go to the end zone. Out comes Rennie Paredes, the chiseled, grimy vet.
I believe, Darren, Paredes ties it up with 33 seconds left. I think Paredes missed a point after attempt today.
38-yard attempt is good. They're tied at 30 with 29 seconds left.
So let's get into the Bombers offense. And I know
Sure.
we have to do our awards, and I know people want
Do
to watch
we?
the World Series.
Do we?
We don't have to do awards.
So
Whatever.
let's talk about the offense.
So I'm not going to go nuclear on Jason Hogan. Okay, yes, on the surface, you can look at the stats and say, oh, great. Once again, Brady Oliveira has eight touches rushing the ball. And he was targeted twice in the pass game, caught one. That's just not going to get it done. He's your best player. He's the reigning MOP. Folks, keep in mind that the Bombers were down by 3 scores going into the half. They were chasing this game the entire game. And I will give him a little bit of a pass in that first half, Darren, because they were chasing the game.
What we're seeing right
However,
now is when the Bombers weren't chasing the game. I'll pull it back.
yeah, that's what I was going to get to.
They weren't
Don't
chasing the
steal my
game
thunder.
on. No, man, we're in simpatico. August 21st, Brady Oliveira runs for 137 yards, adds like 70 receiving. I think it was 68 receiving, has 200 combined against this Alouettes defense.
Yep.
Now, this Alouettes defense wasn't exactly healthy at the time. I believe Wesley Sutton was out. He was a division all-star at halfback. I don't know if Mustafa Johnson was in that game, but like Isaac
He wasn't
Adeyemi
in this game
Berglund.
either.
Yeah. Yeah, Wesley's right. Brady got 1,000 and 1,000 before Hogan. But Zach Schnitzer didn't have a 1-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. I can tell you that. Winnipeg didn't have an all-star laden offensive line. John Chan with a good question. We will see.
So the Bombers go up by 2. Then Montreal scores the touchdown off a back-breaking Austin Mack 50-yard catch over Cam Allen, who looked completely lost on that play. And Cam Allen had a pick today. I think he's been good.
Murray's been going after Walby in the live chat. Walby is not a no-show. Walby doesn't do the post-game show. He does the pre-game show. He does Game Day Winnipeg with myself the day before every Bombers game. Okay.
That's funny.
He got a little bit nicked up this year. Put him on the IR. He recovered. He's back. He played through pain yesterday in doing the pregame show.
Yeah, his voice was raspy, man.
Oh, I kind of liked it, actually.
Actually, it was kind of sexy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you use that word. I won't use that word.
I will. Yeah. And he can gorilla slap me in the head when I finally get invited to his Christmas party.
He'll do it.
But so after the Bombers, they were down by 5. With 6:19 left in the third quarter. Okay. Game's still in the balance. You're going up against no Mustafa Johnson, no Sean Oakman. Like you said, Darren, week 12, Brady dominated that game, 200 yards from scrimmage, 137 rushing, caught 7 for 7 in the pass game. So the first play of the ensuing drive, when the Bombers are down by 5, lots of time left, Brady rushes for 6 yards. But then the next play, Schnitzer basically gets tackled at the line of scrimmage. Play broke down. So they punt. Okay. Then the Alouettes move it to about midfield. They punt it. Then Schnitzer passes to Corcoran 11 yards. He gives it to Brady again. He gives it to Brady again for 16.
So here's Corcoran.
Okay, so he is feeding Brady at that point.
And like this is a great play design. Can I just say this is a great play design? Look at Corcoran in the backfield. They're like, oh, he's blocking. He's a receiver. What's he doing back there? He's playing Nick Dembski. That's a Nick Dembski play. I like Joey Corcoran. I think he's got a little juice, man. I think he's gonna be a player.
There's a reason why he supplanted Kevin Schlitzer.
Yeah,
because he's better.
There's the big run from Brady, 16 yards to the 53-yard line. So Winnipeg down by 5 with a quarter to play, and they got a little juice on offense here. They're moving it.
Exactly. It was a nice drive. But here's the thing, and this is maybe where you can lay the blame on a guy like Jason Hogan, or maybe you look at Zach Schnitzer, because this happened in the game in Edmonton where the Bombers lost 25-20. There was, at the end of the game, when the Bombers were trying to take the lead, there was a 2nd and 4, and then he threw a longer pass to Wilson, who fell down. And then on 3rd and 4, when Dylan Mitchell was wide open underneath, Darren, and would have got the first down, throws a long bomb to Gareth Stearns in double coverage. Game over. Okay? What happens here? The Bombers are down by 5. There's 13 minutes left in the fourth quarter. They're driving. They're on the Montreal 36. Brady is getting going. I'll give Jason Hogan credit. He went back to Brady. You talked about that 16-yard run. But on 2nd and 4 from the Montreal 36, Collaros throws a long bomb to 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙯 Stearns, a 21-yard pass into double coverage. Should have been picked off. Zach is lucky it didn't. And I'm sure Brady was open underneath. I'd have to look at the replay, but I'm sure I saw him open underneath.
So
And
this
I'm
was
sure there were other guys. 13-19 left in the fourth quarter, Darren.
Okay.
2nd and 4 from the Montreal 36.
The near interception led to a field goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here you go.
So, you pulled it up, eh?
Of course.
You got it. Here you go.
We don't plan this, by the way, everybody. I just cut these
I know.
clips. Schnitzy starts talking about them, and then I'm like, I'll find that. There it is.
Ooh. Clean pocket. Clean pocket, Darren.
Let's see it again. I want to see that again. I want to see the original. Because, yeah, big moment in the game. Not super clean pocket. Pressure's
not
coming.
Bad, though, Darren. Not a bad pocket.
Look at Sankey.
Look at the guy in the middle there.
Sankey is a yard behind Stanley Bryant there at left tackle, okay? Collaros is still stepping back. Like, he's coming for him.
But either why are they throwing a 20-yard pass to 𝘎𝙤𝙧𝙯 Stearns in that situation? That I get it. If the play is there, that's the play call, whatever. But it's the second time I've seen in recent weeks.
Who's this?
Exactly.
See at the first down marker? Yep.
That's Wheatfall.
And he even cuts it back when the pressure comes. Oh, there's another guy that's probably open.
Yeah.
Maybe Wilson here.
And I gotta think, Darren.
That's a risky ball, no doubt.
Yeah. Sutton almost picks it off, right? And then it's almost
that led to a 44-yard field goal. That was a 6-play, 45-yard drive.
So what I'm saying is, when the game hung in the balance, the Bombers had the opportunity there. Guys were open. 2nd and 4. They could have run the ball with Brady, who was getting hot. They could have just moved the chains. Why do you need to hit a home run there?
Well, they could have run the ball to Brady because Brady was getting hot there. Well, it wasn't long after 1st and 10, they give it to Brady and he's stripped.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
and that was
the hindsight is always easy to say, well, you could have gave it to Brady there for sure. But there's the next time Brady touched the ball, he fumbled.
I understand, but it's not like Brady has fumbleitis, right? Like,
no, I know that.
No, he didn't 100%. Fumble many times this year.
Yeah.
My point is that on 2nd and 4, when you could have moved the chains and taken a lead in this game, because they needed a major there, Darren. The way that Montreal's offense owned the Winnipeg defense, they needed a major there. And they settled for a field goal, and they would never get any closer than that at 32 down 32-30.
Here's it 39-30, and Collaros dealing deep shot.
Oh, that was a great play by Collaros.
This was a 53-yard catch to the Montreal 12, but then it stalled, and it led to a 16-yard field goal to make it 39-33. At this point in the game, no doubt, there was enough time. They took the points. I don't hate it, but there's the give to Brady. Nothing. Montreal dominant at that line. They even had 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙯 in on that play because it was a short, they were trying to just inch it closer, make it a manageable second down. When you make it a manageable second down, the defense has to defend the line of scrimmage. They can't just defend the end zone or defend the 10-yard marker, right? So I liked that run play call to Brady. I liked it.
Yeah.
But look at this. Montreal knew they were running it, and Winnipeg knew they were running it. So they got nothing. Led to a field goal. And that's the way it went this year. The line, I think Mike O'Shea would agree. Imagine that. He'd agree with me. But I think he would agree when I say the margin between winning and getting beat is so thin. It is such a thin margin. This Blue Bombers team, that's why I stopped short of saying the management failed to give them the roster they need. The team failed to, well, the team did fail to perform to the level they needed to. But I stopped short of saying the management didn't give them the talent, because I said it for the first month of the season. Didn't I, Schnitzy? I believe this roster was more talented and deeper. It was deeper roster for sure than it was last season. And they got to the Grey Cup. Inevitably, there was a huge regression in offensive line play. I think it's fair to, like, for sure, huge regression in offensive line play. I think it's also fair to say a regression in defensive line play overall. But I don't even want to talk about the defense. You had a huge regression on the O-line. You had a huge regression at quarterback, and you lost your best downfield, not even downfield. You lost your best receiver in Dalton Schoen for the year. That's the story of the season. Could Collaros have played better? Definitely. Could the O-line have played better? Definitely. Would have been good if Schoen didn't get hurt? Yep, definitely. And if 𝘎𝙤𝙤𝙧𝙚 didn't miss the last couple games of the season in this playoff game, for sure. But that's the margin I'm talking about. It's so thin.
Yep.
That's why I stopped short of saying this team was ill prepared to be in the Grey Cup again. Like,
do you think? So you're saying, like, I'm putting words in your mouth, but bear
BC
with
Lions
me.
won, by the way, 33-30.
I know.
They're going to Regina.
Yep.
Just wanted to mention that on the show.
That'll be an epic game.
Oh yeah.
Do you, like, let's say Schoen doesn't get injured, 𝘎𝙤𝙧𝙧 doesn't get injured. Do you think this team, looking back, had the horses to win the Grey Cup?
Yeah, I do. I don't know who you could have added on the offensive line to make this offensive line suddenly good. Like, do you want to roll the dice and swap out Stanley Bryant for Kendall Randolph? Kendall Randolph's your left tackle and Micah Vanderpool's your right tackle? Or who's the other? Who's the injured one? I hate speaking of athletes that way.
Lofton.
The injured one. Eric Lofton. Thank you. The injured offensive lineman. I appreciate that. Apologies. Is that what you do? Like, who are you trading for a guy? Like, what are you trading to get him? You trading Nick 𝘎𝙬𝙧𝙧? How do you get a starting tackle who's better than Stanley Bryant out of another team? How do you get a starting guard? Canadian.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Like, you don't. Maybe you pay Liam Dobson at left guard.
Maybe.
Who was one of the top, arguably the top Canadian guard, maybe one of the top, maybe the top guard in the CFL this year for Hamilton.
Yeah. Steve Fraze, I disagree, but
Marcus Hardrick go 2 years ago. Maybe you pay through the nose for a Hardrick who's probably going to
pay for Stanley. You wouldn't be able to afford them both. Stephen Fraze, I disagree, Stephen, but love the comment. It's all about the D, DB. That's the story of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Waiter says Liam Dobson wasn't the difference.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
T. Conapoli. Hey, T. Conapoli wants T. Kona Zach Williams.
Yeah, let's do it.
Zach Williams, Division All-Star.
Anyway, back
Cramdy
to the...
at $1.80 is disappointing.
Oh, Cramdy's a stud, man.
If you met Retta Cramdy in the hole, you'd feel it.
I think if I met Cramdy anywhere, I'd feel it. But I think overall, Darrin...
That's easy to say. USA has lots of linemen. Well, then the Bombers practice roster guys. Maybe they should have put those guys in. Hey?
I think overall, the offense played better than I thought. I think I would have liked to see Brady more. I would have liked to see more creativity from Jason Hogan, a little more, end around sweep. Got Brady running off tackle. Like, how many times do we see Brady run up the middle? And I know he's elite.
Well, why didn't he run off tackle? Think about it. Like, it's not just like run off tackle and it'll work.
I'm not saying it
Why?
works all the time. I'm just
No,
saying
no,
there's a bit
I'm
of
not speaking to you
variability there.
specifically, Schnitzy. I'm just speaking generally. Why don't you run it off tackle? Maybe it's not your strongest place to run the ball. Maybe.
Maybe it's
And they did
possible.
run off tackle sometimes this year. It's just not. Maybe Brady doesn't like
I
running
did,
off tackle. It's
I
different
don't
style.
think.
Brady's a bruiser. Run him up the gut. I don't hate that.
Yeah. I just, Darren, overall, and I think I
Mhm.
saw it in this game, and I'll have to rewatch it to be sure. I didn't see a lot of variability in the Bombers' attack. I think they're fairly predictable. They're fairly static. You don't see a lot of motion. You don't see a lot of misdirection.
I
They
disagree. I disagree with
You
that.
think I mean, I've heard people reporters say that he's heard other players say in disbelief, like that's what the Bombers offense is throwing out. Like I think it's a thing, man. I don't think this offense is multiple enough or creative enough.
Okay.
I don't think it's fooling anybody.
Hit the
I
live
think
chat.
Kolaris,
We'd love to hear what you what you think. Yakman jumps in. Good to see you in the live chat, Yakman. DB, they can't run behind Stanley? Yeah, they can run behind Stanley. They just don't. Why? I don't know. I'm not an expert, but they don't. They don't. I shouldn't say they don't. They don't often run off tackle.
no.
Yeah.
But let's just look at the stats of the offense, Darren. Okay? And I get it. Some of this is truncated by
How would
turnovers.
professional football men know? How would they know? Maybe because they're professional football men.
All right, let's move on. Okay, Darren. Bombers
I'm
have
getting
six.
snarky, eh? Hey, you think you're in a
Bombers have.
bad mood because your team's eliminated? Hey, I'm getting a
No,
little
I'm not in a
snarky.
bad mood. No, I'm just wanting
No,
to
you're
get
not
back to my
actually.
point.
I've
I'm
seen you
good.
in worse
Uh,
moods, like 3 Grey Cups in a row.
yeah,
Mm.
buddy. By the way, this is our first time, our first season working together where the Bombers aren't in the Grey Cup.
Yeah, what happened, bruh?
So let
But
me
the
just
Grey
run
Cup's in
this
our
down,
city.
folks.
I got to mention this. Schnitzy, you and I, we're going to go to the CFL Awards together.
Yeah.
We're going
Yeah.
to do all types of fun stuff during Grey Cup week, no matter who's in the game. That's going to be a ton of fun. So for people out there, buckle up, tune in, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up if you hadn't yet. A couple people hit the thumbs down on the pregame show. That's cool. You can hit the thumbs down. I think it all still helps the algorithm. But yeah, sorry, Schnitzy. Go ahead.
So, okay. In the most important game of the year, when the offense had a lot of questions to answer, they showed a couple flashes during the regular season, but consistently just not getting it done. And whether that was personnel, scheme, Hogan, in-game play calling, or Zach Schnitzer decision making, I think you could say it's all the above. Zach Schnitzer declining abilities. This team was three for 15 on second down today, Darren. 20%.
Mm-hmm.
Montreal was almost 70%. Like that's just not going
Some
to
of
get it
that,
done.
like 3 for 15 is absolute dog shit.
Yes.
100%. Some of that is because they're trailing in the game. So you're taking shots on second down.
Yeah, but
if you're 3 for 15, like if you're 8 for 15, you'd be like, okay, well, some were 3 for
yeah.
15, you're still dog shit. Even even
Yeah.
even if you are trailing.
The Bombers' production on first down wasn't very good. I don't have the numbers because, of course, the CFL doesn't have that, which is ridiculous. But anyway, hard to break down an analysis if you don't have that information. But the Bombers' run game didn't get
Thank
going
you.
when Montreal was down two of their best run stoppers. When Montreal is a team that is a little bit vulnerable to the run, I believe they allow the sixth most rush yards in the CFL, Darren. So they couldn't get the run game going, the offense. They couldn't convert on second down. They only got 330 yards of offense, which is okay, I guess, but not great. The reason this offense was decent today, I would argue, was because of Kolaris. I think Kolaris had one of his better games of the season, maybe top 3. I mean that deep shot to Wheatfall for 50 yards, where he steps up in the pocket and just launches it. I mean that touchdown, 54-yard touchdown pass to Ontario Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Those were beautiful throws.
Yes.
They were beautiful. Like, I thought I thought the decision on 2nd and 4 late in the game that we looked at wasn't great, and I'm sure there's other things. But, when like I said before, I think the Bombers have an elite defense. Do they need to rush
Not a
more? Do
very
they need
good
to get more
defense, an
pressure?
elite defense.
I think the Bombers had an elite defense in this regular season.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You look at all the numbers, all the situations in the regular season in games where that defense won them the game or gave them a chance to win. Do I think they should have got more pressure today? Yes. However, in a game where the offense for once needed to prop up a defense that was struggling, they just couldn't get it done. They
Do you
could
agree
not
with
get it
Stephen
done.
Phrase? Good game, but the defense lost it.
Uh, yes and no. I mean, the defense did give up over 550 yards of offense. The defense gave up how many big plays? Like 30 plus yard pass plays. They gave up 5. And that's not counting the 39-yard pass interference against Lawson in the first quarter, which led to a touchdown. They also gave up an explosion play in the run game from the Alouettes. So you could argue, I think, that the defense lost them this game, but I would also argue the offense didn't do enough to account for it, and you can't expect the defense to bail you out every single game.
Well
But
said. Yep.
but Darren, the Bombers off, whether it's because of Hogan or the scheme or the play calling or Brady or the O line, the bread and butter of this offense is rushing. They had 43 rush yards, 3.1 yard average.
It's
Like,
hard to run the ball when you're trailing.
but Darren,
And
they weren't
Winnipeg was
trailing the whole
trailing.
game. I'm
Oh,
just saying the run game didn't.
Schnitzy,
And the
Schnitzy,
reason, and Darren, the reason
Schnitzy,
they were trailing is they
Schnitzy,
kept going 2 and out. That's why
Schnitzy.
they were trailing.
They weren't trailing the whole game. They were trailing the whole first half. They finally get back into the game. What do you think they were doing to get back into the game? Oh,
But
don't do that
Darren, when you
anymore.
say
Don't
trailing,
do
you're
that
talking
anymore.
like when you abandon the run game, that means you're down by like 2, 3 scores. And yes, they were in the first half, but one of the reasons they were down by that much in the first half is because they kept going 2 and out, and then Montreal was driving the field for touchdowns.
Yeah.
They weren't getting good production on first down.
I want to
from
talk
Brady.
about bigger picture things. Like Johnny Boydano
All right.
says as well, Kyle Walters needs to go. Completely disagree. Completely disagree. Kyle Walters, like Johnny, everyone in the live chat, name your favorite Blue Bomber. Name the guys that were the bright spots in 2025. Tony Jones, cut by Edmonton. Got him off the proverbial scrap heap. I think he was their most outstanding player this year. Like,
Couldn't you say that's Ted Gavaya though?
no.
No.
Why would
Tony
that be
Jones
Ted
was here
Gavaya?
last year.
Why would that be Ted Gavaya and not Kyle Walters making a like signing a CFL free agent cut by another team?
Oh,
It's Kyle's
I don't know if
decision ultimately. This isn't a scouting
yes,
thing. It's
but
pro
who
scouting,
finds
but
the guys? Who found the guys?
Hmm?
Who finds the guys for Walters
So
to sign?
what does Kyle do then? Just sits at his desk with a pen signing contracts?
I'm not saying he just does that. I'm just saying I think we have to give some credit to Ted Gavaya, Danny
What about
McManus.
Danny McManus?
Those are the guys that Cyril Penn last year for the few years. Those are the guys.
Yeah, you
Don't
give for sure. But
aren't they the guys
I'm
that find the diamonds in the rough?
so are you
And
saying
Walters
Kyle
then
doesn't do
signs.
any scouting? Kyle doesn't
I
make
don't
trades.
know.
Kyle doesn't make
I
this.
honestly have
I'm
no idea.
saying he's the general manager. He's the boss. He has final say in who they sign. And they found guys like Tony Jones. They signed guys like James Vaughters. Jarrett Stearns, great free agent signing this year. Were mistakes made in free agency? Yeah. Yeah. But you can't tell me that Kyle Walters needs to go. This team just went to 5 straight Grey Cups. Are you kidding me? Sheesh. Anyway, I digress. Oh, Matthew Peterson.
Yep.
You gonna give
Yeah,
that
that was a
credit
good find.
to Ted Gavaya? Oh, right. Ted Gavaya traded him to Winnipeg. Right. Nice player.
Nice, very nice player. Unfortunately,
And
as soon as I saw that he was dressed, I knew Dembski wasn't going to play, which is too bad.
yeah, that's fair. And look,
I don't think you
you,
can't argue that you're going to get rid of Kyle Walters. I don't agree with that, Darren.
yeah,
I'm just saying I do think in a year that here's the thing, and I think we should get to our awards because people
another
want to watch
year,
this World Series.
he'll get more than another year.
Uh,
Um,
in a year that the Bombers were
Thanks for the
hosting the
comment,
Grey
Caden.
Cup,
Yep.
in the year they still had some Hall of Famers on the team. You could argue this was the proverbial last dance for the Bombers. Championship windows do not last forever, and I know in the CFL you can get back there pretty quickly because there's only 9 teams and there's limited trades and things like that. You can get back there. But this was a home Grey Cup, Darren. That they still had Kolaris, they still had Bryant, they still had Dembski, that Oliveira, up and comers uh like Reda Kramdi, Cam Allen, guys that stepped up, Cameron Lawson, that they had some dudes, but they didn't have enough dudes.
So
And
Johnny says the Bombers lost 12 players. Kyle Walters didn't do anything to replace them. Tell me why. Well, you're wrong. He did lots to replace
yeah,
them. Do you want me to start naming all of the new guys they got this year? Do you want me to start
no,
naming them all?
no.
No,
I don't want you to start naming them all.
no. But I mentioned some, like Jared
Yeah.
Stearns, great free agent signing. Reggie White Jr. didn't pan out. Dylan Mitchell didn't pan out. Right?
Yeah.
Dexter Lawson Jr., CFL vet, signed him, starter. Was he great? No, but he was better than a rookie.
Yep.
Shoot,
No,
I
there were
called him.
some good gets. James Vaughters, a would be flash. There were some good players, Darren.
Yeah,
I don't think Bomber Nation is satisfied with losing. And Gary, what's up, buddy? With losing in the Eastern semifinal
100%. Yeah,
and
not good
in a
enough.
year where you have the home Grey Cup, I think you have to do better.
Yeah,
They didn't have enough good players, period.
yep.
And they
No, I
tried
hear you.
hard,
I hear you.
right?
Yeah.
And I don't think that's
I'm
going to
trying now to
fly.
move on to those bigger picture things about like, okay, so they didn't have enough good players in your opinion this year. Let's talk about next year. Because like Tico Napoli says, will Kolaris be back next year? Is there a buyout? Well, that's not how it works in pro football. I mean, it's changed in the NFL. There's now guaranteed portions of contracts. In the CFL, for the most part, not entirely, but for the most part, contracts are not guaranteed. If you're a quarterback like Zach Kolaris, there will be segments of your contract that are guaranteed. That's a new thing just this past couple years. I'm not talking about an off-season bonus. I'm talking about money in the contract that if you sign a 3-year deal, some of it could be, not always, but could be guaranteed. We don't have those details on Kolaris's contract. But plain and simple, if the Bombers would rather not have Zach Kolaris as their quarterback next year and not pay that 600 grand or whatever it is, then they can just make that decision and release him. Yeah, I mean, like John, you're saying the scouts were horrible finding talent. Trey Vavel is going to win most outstanding rookie in the CFL this year. He's going to win it. Yeah, they were horrible. Cam Allen, horrible finding new talent. Horrible. Joey Corcoran, drafted. Horrible. Good player. Like, come on. Come on. You know? Micah Vanterpool, injured a lot this year. But that was a new guy they brought in this year. Good player. Like, come on. It's a little
Yeah.
hyperbolic.
Yeah.
What do you think the Blue Bombers quarterback room will look like next year? I can comfortably say I do not expect, like, Taylor Elgersma is not going to be with the Blue Bombers in training camp. He's not going to be in Canada. He's not. But I don't think Chris Streveler is going to be a Blue Bomber next year. I think the only quarterback I don't think Terry Wilson is going to be a Blue Bomber quarterback next year. But I think it also matters like who they can get and who they find. What did like when we talk to Kyle Walters in the next week, whatever it might be, I want to ask about Chase Artopius and what he has, and ask like, you know, someone with the Blue Bombers is watching this. They're going to tell Kyle, okay, Bauming's going to come with questions. I mean, this is no shocker. Many reporters are going to be asking about Chase Artopius and what he has and if he's in their plans. And we want to discern one way or another if he has it, if he's got something. Is he the next Drew Brown, right? Is he the next starting quarterback here or, you know, in Winnipeg or otherwise? Do you vehemently disagree, you're split, or you agree when I say this, Schnitzy? Zach Collaros will be the Blue Bombers starting quarterback next year.
100%. 100%, man. My only caveat there is, and maybe we need to do a season wrap-up show and talk about these bigger issues.
Probably. Yeah.
From what I've heard, from what I've read, and from what I've seen, Darrin, the players were not happy with Jason Hogan. And Collaros is one of them. And his body language in that penultimate game in Winnipeg versus the Riders, where they pulled out a 1-point victory, I have never seen his body language that bad. That reminded me of Drew Willie back in 2015 when he was getting absolutely slaughtered for like 70 sacks a year.
Yeah.
And, you know, the offense had an all offense meeting, something that hadn't happened since 2019. You had Brady this year having to have a special personal meeting with Hogan to talk about his use. I don't think the players like Hogan. I don't think Collaros likes him. I don't think Brady likes him. And if they bring Jason Hogan back, I don't know if Brady Oliveira wants to play here. I don't know if Zach Collaros is going to want to play here.
I wouldn't go that far.
They were not happy.
I wouldn't go that far, but I would say that they would protest if they feel that strongly about it. I don't know. You don't either, right? Like you're saying you feel that's how they feel.
No, it's not just feeling. I mean, we've had our buddy Jeff Hamilton.
The exact words that come out of your mouth, though, Schnitzy, are that they don't like him.
Well, they don't like his play calling.
Right. That's fair. But to go to the extent of they wouldn't want to play here if he's back.
Well, if they don't like his play calling, man, I don't know.
I'm just saying, you're making a lot of presumptions.
If they don't like his play calling and he comes back, I
might not like my boss. That doesn't mean I want to leave my job.
I'm not saying they're going to leave, Darrin. I'm saying
they wouldn't want to play here. Just saying.
They might not want to play here.
Now Zach Collaros
probably has a year or two left at most in his career. Yeah. Do you think he wants to play for an OC when he doesn't like the guy's play calls with Zach Collaros' experience?
100%.
I don't know, man.
They'll protest. Like, let's be real here, though. We have no, like, do we really think it is a tangible reality that Winnipeg just stands pat with Jason Hogan as their offensive coordinator? I think that'd be foolhardy.
I agree. I would expect that they don't bring him back, and maybe they give the reins to Darius Jackson. I don't know. Or someone else.
Yeah.
But if you, and I think we should get off the big picture stuff and have a wrap-up show and get to our awards, Darrin.
You're dying for those awards today. Okay.
Well, people want to watch the World Series, all this stuff, right?
No, they want to watch Bonfire, baby. That's why there's 250 people watching live right now.
I know. And they'll catch us on podcast. Shout out to our podcast listeners.
Big question from Tico Napoli. Would love people's comments in the live chat. Just yes or no.
Yes.
Will O'Shea be back next year?
Why do you say no? Bringing this up?
If you think no, leave an emoji in the live chat of like the reason why, or like how it makes you feel about O'Shea not being here in 2026. That's
Why
what I
do
want to
people
see.
like? I am so sorry, and I could be. This could be the worst take in history in hindsight in a few months, Darren, because I know he doesn't have a contract, folks. O'Shea doesn't sign the contract till the off season. How many times has he done that now?
Yep.
He's not going to Ottawa to be the coach and GM.
He doesn't want to be a
Like,
GM.
he
Mike
doesn't
doesn't
want to
want to
be a
be a
GM.
GM. Mike doesn't want to be a GM. Mike wants to be boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Being a GM, it's a mental job.
Yeah.
Like
He's the
so's
most
coaching.
loyal person. He is not going to leave. He closer to home. What's home, Wade? Like, I love you, waiters. This isn't a personal shot, but like, what's home? Like North Bay? Like, why does he want to go live closer to home in North Bay? He's been in Winnipeg for over 10 years. This is his home.
Yeah, his kids like grew up here, like not their formative
This
years,
is
but
his
like their
home.
teenage
His
years.
wife's
Like,
the teacher in
yeah.
Winnipeg.
Like if you live from 0 to 10 in one city and from 10 to 20 in another city, what city do you think growing up as a kid would you identify with? Probably
He's
the
not
one
going
where
to
you were like 10 to 20,
Toronto.
right?
Dinwiddie's not going anywhere. He's not going to like. I'm so sick of this stuff about O'Shea
Yeah.
leaving. I don't get it. Do I think
Yeah.
O'Shea was unhappy this year? Yeah, and Darren, you interviewed him. Like you would know better than I. But just from what I saw in his interviews, his demeanor, he looked tired.
Who? Osh?
O'Shea, I thought he had a little bit of a different demeanor
You
this
talked
year.
about being a fan of this team having it being an exhausting year. How do you
I
think it
think.
is to be the head coach of this team?
Well, I agree. There's yeah, I'm sure it is. But O'Shea's been the head coach for over a decade, Darren. I'd never seen him like this. I
Great.
found him to be more concise, more clipped, a little bit more defensive. His presence just seemed to be a little bit fatigued, even a little bit defeated. I think he had a tough year, and
Yeah.
as any coach would.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
think he particularly, I'm speculating, had a particularly tough year with Hogan. And we have to hold Mike O'Shea accountable for that because he's the guy who chose Hogan. And we know that Mike, and I'm not blasting O'Shea for this, because sometimes you don't know. Sometimes a guy has all, as you said earlier, right? A player seems like they're gonna pop. Maybe he saw that Hogan had all the tools. Okay. And you guys can knock O'Shea for always promoting from within. But look at the previous guy he promoted from within. Buck Pierce. 2 MOP seasons for Zach Schnitzer, a Grey Cup, 3 others. Brady Oliveira MOP. You look at Mike Miller, a guy who didn't even think he would be a coach, and O'Shea, promotes him and says, "Hey, I got your back, buddy." Well, look at the Bombers' special teams, folks. They're the best in the CFL. You could argue that Vavel will win the most outstanding special teams player, although I think they'll give it to 𝘎𝙤𝙤.
I
That's
don't.
another conversation.
I don't.
But you could say he's the best
And
special teams player.
I like I love Liram. I love him as a person. He is an incredible person. I love Liram. He deserves everything coming his way. He is a great human. An amazing story. I've gone on and on in this show in the past about Liram, and when I see Liram, he knows how I feel about him. We have some connections through my family's church and him and emigrating to Canada and how he met his wife, who's also a Kosovo refugee, and dear, I would call him like a it's not like we're dear friends, but I hold him dearly, as
Yeah,
an
phenomenal,
acquaintance.
phenomenal
Um,
player,
yeah,
phenomenal human, right?
I still
But
think I think it'll be Vavel. Um,
okay, but my point is that you can't on the one hand knock O'Shea for promoting from within and giving a rookie a chance in Jason Hogan. You got to look at he's done this before and it's worked. Look at Mike Miller. Guy'd never been a coach. All of a sudden, he's the special teams coordinator for the Bombers. The past 2 years, the Bombers, the return teams, the cover teams, the kicking, They've been elite, folks.
Can I say another reason O'Shea might look exhausted this year and be exhausted is because
He has
he
to
had
deal with
a
you in the
he
scrum.
right. Yeah. I don't think I've asked Mike O'Shea a question in months. I'll digress from that. But a reason why he might be exhausted is that he took on a rookie coordinator and they were standing next to each other every game. Mike O'Shea probably took on a lot of that as special teams coordinator and helping Mike Miller along. They did a great
But
job. Special teams
can
were
I
very
just
good
say
this year.
something, though? Can
Yep.
I say something about Hogan?
Mhm.
And this is purely subjective, Darrin. This is purely subjective and speculative. Putting aside the offense's challenges this year, to put it mildly, when I saw Hogan interviewed, I didn't like him. I did not find him likable. And
Well, he's under fire. It's hard to come
I
across as,
understand.
yeah,
I
I'm just saying.
understand that's not an easy position to be in. I get that. But there's ways, I think, when you have high emotional intelligence, social intelligence, you can be under fire and you can handle it with humility and grace and humor. And I didn't
But
see that.
but
And I'm hold on, let me
hey,
finish. I'm not saying that's easy. And I'm not saying he's a bad dude. I'm sure he's a great guy in person. I'm just saying when the bullets were flying, he was prickly, defensive.
but
I
that's
didn't
not
like.
where he is measured as far as performance. So
Yeah,
what?
but hold
So
on.
he's a prickly dude. Nobody
But
would
hold
care
on.
if his offense was first in the league.
What I'm saying, no, I wouldn't. But his offense isn't. And this is what I'm saying, Darrin, that if he rubs me the wrong way from watching him in interviews, I think he rubs the players the wrong way too. Because I'm
Very
sure the
speculative.
players scrutinized
Very
him.
speculative. You know what? Coming into, I'll just say this as an advocate for the conversation. Coming into this year, do you remember Brady Oliveira's comments about Jason Hogan?
Yeah, absolutely.
They are very close. They
Don't
are
the cool
like,
kids say he glazed them? He glazed them up.
sure, I guess. Yeah. Uh, you know, you're speculating that the players don't like him as a person. You
I'm
know,
saying I wouldn't be surprised if he rubs them the wrong way. I'm not saying they don't like him.
fine. You know what? I've been in a lot of football, facilities and with teams and that sort of thing, not at the professional level, but at the elite amateur level. Uh, some coaches are prickly. Some, you don't like them, but that's not why they're there. They are there to coach. They are there to coordinate and scheme and game plan. So what? So what if he comes across? So what?
I think it matters. And I think it
But
matters.
you're speculating that it matters to a man in that room that, oh well, the OC's not a likable guy. Like, who gives a shit? Who cares?
I think it matters in an O'Shea locker room, and I'll tell you why,
But they
Darrin.
gave him the job. It's not like Jason Hogan
Hold
arrived in
on.
Winnipeg this year.
Hold on.
Come
The
on, man.
O'Shea culture,
I don't know
from
what we're
everything
talking
I've
about right
heard
now.
from O'Shea and players, it's like a family. And even Hogan has said this. He's
This is all just
espoused
wildly
this.
speculative, Schnitzy. Like,
Listen,
it doesn't matter.
Jason Hogan has espoused this family atmosphere. He talks about collaboration and consultation. When your offense is struggling and you need to brainstorm why and you need to fix it, not solo, you need to rely on your quarterback, Colares, who's 37, who's a seasoned vet, who's seen everything, Brady Oliveira, your MOP, your receivers, Darius Jackson, your position coaches. I'm just saying, when the bullets were flying, he didn't come across as someone that I would feel comfortable talking to. This is all speculation, but everyone in the chat agrees with me. You look at his production issues, you look at his demeanor, You look at Jeff Hamilton reporting, and he's a beat reporter for this team. He's around them all the time. The players were pissed.
He's never reported about his personality and likability.
I'm not saying that, Darren. I'm saying this is the other part, that they're upset with his play calling.
So that's the
you
other
put
part.
That all together, it stinks.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. I don't see how his personality and likability and prickliness is neither here nor there. So let's move on.
Here.
I do need
and there. It's here and there. Anyway,
have to mention our good friends at the Silver Heights Restaurant. Steaks, legendary ribs, right here in sunny St. James. Hit the Heights. Silver Heights Restaurant and Lounge serves up your favorites, mouthwatering seafood, hearty Canadian classics, cozy vibes, and a family-run Winnipeg institution since 1957. Dine-in, takeout, delivery, free parking, great beer selection, including Scheitz Lager. Oh, it's tasty and cold. In the Silver Heights Restaurant Lounge, which is Winnipeg's original sports bar. 1957, they were a sports bar. Watch Jets, the Bombers, the NFL. Watch it all on their monster big screen and multiple TVs. Open late. Silver Heights Restaurant is at 2169 Portage Avenue, just west of Assiniboine Park. You can order, book, and find out more online at SilverHeightsRestaurant.ca. There's JC. There's Tony. Pictures of Grandpa Sawicki. 3 generations, bringing it all the time. And I mean, when you walk into a lounge and they got this, the 𝘎𝙤𝙧𝙯 Drive, and I pointed this out on the pregame show. You see that up there? That's the bracket for the post. That's the original 𝘎𝙤𝙯 Drive sign. They told me I could say it, even if it's maybe incriminating.
That's
it's
awesome.
Autographed by the Turtle Man. So go see him, SilverHeightsRestaurant.ca. You tell him the Bonfire Boys sent you. Tradition tastes great at the Heights. I love it there. We got to have our season wrap up there for sure.
We have a season wrap up, buddy.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do a show from there. We'll get into some of these conversations.
I would love to. And yeah. I promise you folks that...
Ohtani is out of the game. Bo Bichette, 3-run homer, bottom of the third. Jays lead 3-0.
I want to watch this damn World Series. Let's get to our freaking awards.
Yep. Okay. Who is your Walby's Warrior tonight?
Who is my Walby's Warrior? Well, folks... I almost want to. I want to talk about the Warrior of the season, but I think we need to do another show to talk about our season award winners. Darren, for this game, I would say my Warrior was actually Zach Collaros. I don't think he played a perfect game, but I think he played a good game. I think he played one of his top 3 games of the season. Without Nick Dembski, who caught 40% of his of the yards that he threw this season, over 40%, which is significant. I thought Collaros came to play. He made some big time throws. We talked about them earlier. He threw for over 300 yards. He didn't throw a pick, although he was lucky not to get picked off by Sutton when he threw into double coverage. And he did get picked off at the end of the game, but I don't count that one. 306 yards, 73%, 108.8 efficiency. He's a guy who's had a really up and down year. I do think age is catching up to him. We can argue that another day. But the run game wasn't working. Hey?
I don't even think we'd argue that.
The run game wasn't working, and whether that's because they play calling or the O-line or scheme or just Montreal being out physicaling the Bombers, that didn't come off right, but you know what I mean. I thought Collaros came to play. He put his big boy pants on. That offense did nothing in the first half, down by 19, and Collaros brought them back, scored 21 points in 3.5 minutes. So he still has the it factor. He can still get it done, Darren. I don't think he had a perfect game, but it was darn good. And you could argue if the defense even plays to their average, it's probably good enough to win the game. You throw for 73%, 306 yards and a TD.
Like Davis Alexander, he's a stud, man. I was talking to somebody this week about like potential Grey Cup matchups, right? And it would be great if Winnipeg was in it, of course. A home Grey Cup, the home team in it, it's unlike anything in Canadian sports. Um, but if it wasn't the Bombers, I think the best game for fans traveling to Winnipeg would be Saskatchewan versus Hamilton, right? But the best game to display the talent of the future of the Canadian Football League will be Davis Alexander and the Montreal Alouettes against
Yeah,
Nathan Rourke and the BC Lions.
100%.
Like, that's how good Davis Alexander is. Nathan
100%.
Rourke is going to be the CFL MOP in 2025. He's going to win it this year. I have no doubt he'll win it over Bo. I could be proven wrong, but I have no doubt. And he can win a game any given Saturday. He can do it. So can Davis Alexander. If you're a Bombers fan and you're frustrated with the defense and you feel like the defense lost the game today, this Blue Bombers offense couldn't do anything in the first half, and that's why they had to come roaring back, and they lost by 2 scores. They lost by 9 points, right? They played against a quarterback who is the real deal. The hype is not hype. The hype comes from a place of reality. Davis Alexander is going to be just as good as Nathan Rourke, as Bo Levi, as Zach Collaros, as Michael Riley, as Trevor Harris, as Jason Moss. Like he's that caliber of quarterback. He's very, very good. And I like the swagger he brings, man. I'd want Davis Alexander to be my quarterback. Like it used to be Nathan Rourke would be my guy. Like if I had to build a franchise today, I think it's Davis Alexander now because he's. I probably still want Rourke, but I want Davis Alexander's swagger. His like Walby and I talk about it. He always brings up Matt Dunnigan. He's just a dude. He's a dude. He walks into the room, commands it. That's what I want my quarterback to have. So yeah, maybe he comes across a certain way. A lot of people saying,
I love it.
Jason Hogan doesn't have humility, right? People in the live chat, they're saying Jason Hogan, you know what? That's kind of what you want the dude to have. You want the dude to be maybe not your OC. You want your quarterback to.
Okay, who's your warrior?
I don't want to get you back on that, Schnitzy. I don't want to get you back on.
No, who's your warrior?
Walby's warrior for me today. You gave it to Collaros? I don't know. Collaros is a good pick. I'll give it to Collaros. Well, I'll ride your coattails on that one.
Okay.
Who is what's your Westwood wide to the right?
Oh, I got a good one for that.
Okay.
And I love Mike O'Shea. Okay, I'll give him he's gonna get a statue. Okay. He's taken us to 5 Grey Cups. He's won 2 of them.
What if he leaves?
Probably should have won all.
What if he leaves? I'm just kidding.
He's not leaving.
I'm just sparking
he
it.
Probably should have won 5. But I didn't like some of the decisions that were made today, Darrin. Okay. The Bombers were in the red zone early in the game. They take a time count penalty. They got to kick a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You got to call a timeout.
Going for it on 3rd and 5. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I liked, actually. But you got to call a timeout there. And then with the timeout that he decides he needs to save, he burns it on a bogus challenge. It's 1st and goal on the 1 with Terry Wilson. It looks like Wilson gets in, Darrin.
Mm-hmm.
But we all know that those types of calls are so hard to overturn. And you still have 2 downs to get it in the end zone from the 1. I don't care what people worry about with Americanization. You still have 1 yard off the ball. You don't challenge that. He just gave up the timeout. He should have used the play before. I hated that.
Mhm.
And sure enough, Terry Wilson gets into the end zone. Okay. The next thing is he's up 26-25 in the third quarter. The Bombers have all the momentum. I get you take the points that you can. And I get it's early in the game. I don't know why you don't go for 2 to go up by 3. I don't get it. Like, if you think your offense is so fragile that they can't withstand not getting a 2-point conversion, then that's another story. I would have liked to
with a
see
quarter
him.
to play, you're saying? With a quarter to play.
Yeah, I would have liked to go for 2. Be
Mm.
up by 3. The next thing I didn't like is there
Here's the
was
time count.
3:17.
Just showing the time count.
Yeah. You can't take a time count at this level. Anyway, 3:17 left in the fourth quarter. The Bombers were 3rd and 4 on their 51-yard line. Okay? Up until that point, the Alouettes had marched the field again and again and again and again with impunity. I know it's the 51-yard line. It's on their side of field. If you don't get it on 3rd and 4, you're going to lose. Probably. But Darrin, if your defense hasn't stopped them all night, they got 1 2-and-out all game.
Mm.
It took till the fourth quarter to get a 2-and-out and a punt. Okay? What made him think the defense was going to stop Davis Alexander? Put it in the hands of your best player, Zach Collaros or Brady Oliveira. Go for it. You are trying to win the game. I hated punting it there. I hated it. And what happens? Montreal, under Davis Alexander, undefeated, marches the ball 87 yards and ices the game with a field goal, puts it out of reach. They should have gone for it. You look at, and I'm biased because I love Dan Campbell and I love the Detroit Lions. They go for it all the time
Yeah.
because their MO is,
It's the
I'm going to
anti-Mike
come into
O'Shea.
your house and I'm going to bite off your freaking kneecap. I am going to eat you. I am going to kill you. I am here to kill you, to kill your team. I'm here to win. Don't punt the ball there. Don't go for it. You go for it there. I hated that call. I'm not saying those calls lost the Bombers the game, but maybe they did, and they certainly didn't help them win. And sometimes when your team's getting thrown around like that, you need to have sterling, tip-top coaching decisions to help you get a win. And I didn't like any of those calls. And yes, waiters, I know being aggressive has burnt Detroit. But this is the fourth quarter on the road. Playoff game. Go win the game. They had enough time, but not too much, to play Brady brand bully ball and get it down there and essentially get a walk-off touchdown. And they punted it. And they punted away their season. It's hindsight. I know. I know they weren't getting great production down to down with Brady, and maybe that's why they didn't trust the offense. But you needed a touchdown and you punted. And I hated it. That's my wide to the right.
Okay. Here's mine. It's a technical term. Doink.
Oh my God.
That was tough.
Move those bloody goalposts.
The
Ridiculous.
I'm gonna pull up I think it was the same drive. So that was first and goal. Then there was this. This was actually a pretty crazy moment where Lorenzo Burns made some plays. Then he also took a PI. And we'll get a look at it here. At this point of the game, I thought Collaros was playing really well. And people don't like it, whether that was PI or accidental PI, their feet getting
Well, he
tied
pulled
up
on
there.
his jersey. If you see the other angle,
Wow,
Darren,
that's
though.
hand fighting happens every play.
No, but he pulled on his jersey, which seemed to
happens every play. I think it's their I don't see any jersey pull.
Oh, I do.
Oh,
Right there.
Yeah. But the reason that he goes down, I guess the jersey pulls why he but I think this is also accidental pass interference, just the way their feet get tied up.
Yeah, it could be both, eh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Could be
They
both.
totally clank.
And look at that stupid end zone. Like,
well, they're fixing that next year.
Let's not get into a debate about the rule changes. Maybe we'll do that in our wrap-up show.
As an homage to the late, great Cactus Jack. An homage out of respect and admiration. Cactus Jack Wells, 680 CGOB. Happy Honker Award, as we give out every week here on Game Day After Dark. A moment, a player, a person on the field, off the field, you want to give your happy honker to, Schnitzy.
Oh man, we still have the bonfire burning point, which would be very interesting today. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Darrin, the happy honker for me was the Gabe Wallace completed catch on the illegal forward pass.
That was mine too. Here it is.
Look at you have it right there. Well done, buddy.
Gabe Wallace, like, he's put on more weight as the season has gone on, which is pretty normal. Tell me this isn't Chris Walby reincarnate. Like, of course, Walby's still with us. But like, this is Chris Walby in the 21st century. I freaking love Gabe Wallace. And they just try to sell it, right? Like, this is Claris just like, oh shit. Ineligible receiver, it's a penalty. But great to see 330 plus pounds.
Might be the heaviest guy in CFL history to catch a pass.
Yeah. That's awesome. Ms. D claiming I didn't know the name of the Montreal running back. What? Because I called him.
What'd you call him? Szechuan Scott or something?
No, I called him Stevie Scott.
Well, that's his name.
What did I call him?
You didn't call him. You called him something else, but whatever.
It was close to Steve.
Yeah, it wasn't like
Shoot me.
You didn't call him like
Shoot me.
𝘎𝙤𝙧𝙯 or something. I think you said like Stefan or something. Like it still started with an S.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
What? That's your happy honker?
Yeah, that's my happy honker.
Yeah,
too.
I think that might be the best happy honker of the year. Wide, we did wide to the right. Okay, we got to do game balls, but we got to do the burning point.
What's your bonfire burning point, Schnitzy?
Oh man, they're actually, this is a hard one because there's so many. Is it the Brady Oliveira fumble? Is it punting the ball down 39-33 with 3 minutes left and you're at midfield? For me, Darrin, and I think you could come up with a bunch of burning points. And folks, I'd love to see what.
I think I said Stuart Scott.
Yes, you did. That's right.
Yeah. It was the former ESPN, the late great Stuart Scott. ESPN Sports Center anchor.
I think there could be a variety of burning points. For me personally, it was the Willie Jefferson face mask.
Okay.
For me, really,
that came right after the Oliveira fumble, by the way.
Right. So in that play, it was second and long, and Willie Jefferson gets Davis Alexander for like an 11-yard sack or something. It would have forced a field goal. And instead, it's a roughing the passer penalty. I'm sure Willie Jefferson didn't mean it. It just happens. He's got those long arms right there. And the Alouettes, they would have been forced to kick a field goal. They would have got it from that distance. So it would have been 35-30. Much different than what ensued. They get the roughing the passer, Montreal does, with about 10 minutes left in the fourth. Stevie Scott rushes twice for 13 yards and they get the touchdown. And those would end up being the winning points. And I just thought it was bad luck, and I felt terrible for Willie because that sack could have been a defining moment of the game. By the way, That Stevie Scott the third 7-yard touchdown, which was 2 plays later. Many people I was talking to thought that play should have been blown dead when arguably Scott had forward progress, but then they didn't blow the whistle, and then he got pushed back, and then he moved forward, and eventually went into the end zone. So that was tough. But yeah, for me, that's my burning point.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good one. Here's mine. This is late, but the game is not over at this point. 39-33, 2 minutes left, and Winnipeg can't contain Davis Alexander. He runs for 19 yards.
Yeah.
Or sorry, 18 yards to the Winnipeg 51. Clock continues to tick. Huge first down. And then Stevie, a.k.a. Stewie, a.k.a. Stevie Scott, runs 39. You want to talk about, they didn't bring enough guys to the line of scrimmage? They got 4 on the line. Sorry, they got like 5 on the line. And everyone's in the box. Everyone. Look at them. 4
Look
on
at
the
that
line.
runs off tackle. Look at that. Look how effective that is.
Well, he actually didn't run off tackle.
But he takes it outside.
Well, yeah. You've never seen Brady run outside?
That's
not
often.
Off tackle. That's B gap. The tackle is taking Woodby here.
Anyway, he breaks it outside, and then that's an elite stiff arm there too.
You got 4 on the line. You got 3 linebackers. You got 4 linebackers, and then you have the safety help. Like everybody's in the box, and Stevie Scott just gashes the Bombers defense. Kills them. 39 yards to the Winnipeg 12. That led to the field goal that made it 42-33. That's my bonfire burning point. I mean, there were moments earlier in the game. Frankly, the bonfire burning point is what was happening at halftime. Like the first half, this game was lost. I shouldn't say lost. Like 𝘎𝙤𝙧𝙧𝙯 probably didn't make any friends in Winnipeg by saying like the Bombers don't have a chance, not with the way they're playing, not with what they've shown. That's paraphrased what 𝘎𝙤𝙧𝙧 said at the half. He wasn't entirely wrong. Like that's what he's paid to say. That's what he's paid to do. Call it like it is. The Bombers didn't have a shot with the way they were playing. They then scored 3 touchdowns in 3.5 minutes, and it was a different story. But yeah, I mean, the bonfire burning point was that horrid crap first half. Told there's a fight in the World Series. I'm a little moment behind my feed here. Oh, okay. Jimenez, the 9-hitter for the Jays, gets hit by a pitch from Wroblewski. Bench is clear. Game 7 of the World Series. 2-run game.
Crazy.
That's awesome. People saying fight, fight, fight. Well, it was Tamsin Partridge, our good friend and 1930 crew goer, who said she likes it when you and I argue, Schnitzy. I agree. I kind of like arguing with you too.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's good content. Fun until it's not.
Yeah, sometimes it goes too far.
You know what? Actually, I'll give you a wide to the right now for your office chair, because as the show goes on,
what?
Oh, you totally go down.
That's just because I move around. I can't sit still. That's my problem.
Okay. All right. I had a chair like that. It used to just you sit there for an hour and you're like 2 inches lower.
I probably just getting tired and I like sink into the chair, dude.
Yeah.
Leslie, no punches thrown.
No punches thrown.
Okay, let's get out of here. Gabe Ball. Darrin, I am going to give.
I don't even care. Did Paulie send us? I think Paulie sent us another super chat. Thanks, Paulie. Oh my
God, Paulie.
Schnickers for Schnitzy, little grumpy. Good season, Bonfire, and yes, totally agree on Hogan demeanor. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Calls you grumpy, but also agrees with you on Hogan.
I like it.
Who's your game boss? Who you got?
I just like I'll give Jamal Parker one for that punch out.
Like
Um,
it.
he
Like it.
he had a tough first half. He gave up some big plays, but to come back and get that punch out, I like that. That's the
Exactly what
only
I
one I
thought when
can.
he did it too.
Yeah, I
Exactly what I
love
thought.
that. That's character, that's toughness, right? To get
Yep.
torched in the first half and bring your team back. But I do want to give I'm gonna give one game ball because I gotta give Claris my warrior. I'm giving the game ball to Carrick Wheatfall, a guy who has had some injury. He's gotten rocked a couple times in a couple games where he's held on to the ball. There's been games where he seemingly disappears, Darren. He really came out of the gate flying. I think he had 5 big plays, 5 big passes in the first few weeks of the season. He looked to be a good number 2 behind Dembski or number 3, I guess, behind Schoen and Dembski. And this game, he came to play, man. He had over 100 yards, 104 yards, 6 targets, 5 catches, and he had that large of 53.
Mm.
He had a second down conversion. So I thought he maybe had his best game of the year.
Yep. I like it. There he is there. 6 catches, 5 targets, as you mentioned, 104, that large of 53. I was also going to pull up Winnipeg's first down of the game. They mentioned it on the broadcast. Get this. It's crazy. Winnipeg's first down. Final play of the first quarter. Great ball. And a 30-yard strike to Carrick Wheatfall. Wheatfall's a nice player. Him, Ontario Wilson. That's a nice core they have at receiver. They tried to add, Jarrett Stearns. I'm not sure if he's back for next year as far as free agency. Like I'm sure Winnipeg will try to retain him. Far side, appreciate you, big boy. Always hit the thumbs up button. You always do. You always comment, even if you're watching afterwards, like not live. Appreciate that a lot. If you're listening to the podcast, you can comment in your podcast app as well, or head over to YouTube. It's really easy to find our BonfireSports.ca/live, and it goes to all of our live shows. You can go BonfireSports.ca/YouTube or BonfireSports.ca/Twitter/X/Facebook, whatever. It'll take you to where you want to go. Just no/TikTok will never happen. Fun, Great Cup Fun Fest coming soon, says Vicky Short. See you there. Thanks, DB and Zach. Love my Bonfire podcast. We love you, Vicky. Another 1930 crew goer. Appreciate you, as always. Glynis, I know Schnitzy's a huge fan of yours. So am I. Just tuning in. Any thoughts on Claris next
Vicky.
year? I know he's under contract, but will he play or retire? Yeah, I think you and I are going to have a show about this maybe in a week or two to digest. But we got lots of stuff coming for Grey Cup week, Schnitzy.
Very exciting. Very exciting.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Do you have any final thoughts you want to share before we sign off for a final time this season? I guess we can start calling it the Bombers off season. It begins now.
Yeah, we're gonna have another show in the like in a 2-3 weeks maybe, Darren. We'll figure it out. We'll let you folks know. Yeah, I mean, disappointing ending to the season for sure. I expected more. I think we all did. I wanted them to get that Grey Cup at home, and unfortunately, it just didn't happen this year for the team, and it's disappointing. Do I think we were spoiled by 5 straight Grey Cups? Yeah, and it's hard to get there, especially if you have to come 4th place. So it's disappointing. We can do a further breakdown later and then maybe some finger pointing. Talk about demeanor. But at the end of the day, folks, this was so much fun. DB and I love doing these shows. We love
do.
you guys. I always feel better after the shows, both because I enjoy doing them, but also I get to hear your thoughts. I get to talk it out. It's a therapy session. It's just an absolute pleasure, and I so appreciate. I think we both do, Darren. All of you who tune in live, who watch later, who comment, who listen on podcast,
Hit that thumbs up.
who say hi to us at the games or wherever.
You know, people that text the Bonfire Hotline, like I haven't renewed the subscription to the thing, but like I still see all of the texts. I still see them all. I just can't respond to them. See all of those. 816-8477, 816-TIPS, 204-816-8477. Standard rates apply, just like you texting your mama. I haven't said that in a while.
No, you haven't.
No.
So you're saying people should keep texting, but you haven't renewed?
I'll see them. I'll see them.
Oh, okay.
But it's even better if you comment in YouTube.
I thought you were saying like just send the texts out to the ether. I don't see them, but do it.
Oh no, I see them. I see them. I can't respond. I mean, I could, but then I'd be responding with my real number, and I'm just not handing that out. Not yet.
I'll hand it out.
Well, I have a real number.
I know.
Yeah, it's 204-816-TIPS, 816-8477. And our real address, 854
854 Hazeldale.
854 Hazeldale.
Yep.
I don't even know where that street is.
And also, Darrin, last thing, thank you for being the brains behind the operation.
Glad
being at the controls, cutting the clips, organizing all of this. You know how bad I am with tech. And I just get to show up and talk. Just absolute pleasure, my friend, and very thankful that you all those years ago decided that some moron who just loved to talk about the Bombers might be a good co-host.
Schnitzy, you asked.
I know, but you had to say yes.
But you asked. You got it.
I know I asked.
You asked, you got it.
You could have let me down gently, buddy.
I could have. I thought I do every day on the every game day after dark. I thought I'd let you down gently. Okay? I just keep stabbing you with logic and reason and balanced perspective.
Ooh, we don't like logic and reason. Boo.
Okay? A little responsibility, a little bit of, yeah. Look, everybody who's in the live chat, I'm pulling up a whole bunch of these comments. Appreciate you all. Thank you so much. It's awesome to see everybody continue to support the channel. Look, brighter days are ahead. This Bombers team isn't going to, slide quietly into the night. This organization is built the right way in football ops and outside of football ops. 14 straight sellouts dating back to last year. They sold out the entire 2025 season where they went 10-8. Okay. The Bombers went 7-2 at home. That's one of their worst home records in years. And they sold out every game. They're going to bring it next year. Grey Cup is in Calgary. Remember the last time the Grey Cup was in Calgary, Schnitzy? I sure do. And then it's in Regina. Maybe we can go spoil a party there. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thanks, buddy. I love doing the show with you. You know that. Got huge appreciation and love for you, brother. We're going to do this again in maybe a couple weeks. And we got tons of stuff to get to as far as wrapping up the season, and lots to get to at Grey Cup week. We're definitely going to the CFL Awards. No chain though, brother. I know it's shiny. It's like it's a necklace. You'd wear it with your Sunday best sort of thing, but no chain. Okay.
I will, assuming it's still fit, I will wear a custom suit I had made in 2019, which coincided with the playoff run. It has a little surprise, a Bombers related surprise in it, but it's very tasteful. So stay tuned, folks.
Love it. Love it.
Okay. All right. I guess I should do my rhyme.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the rhyme.
Okay. Well, hopefully in 2026, the Bombers offense plays cleaner, but will it really matter with Hogan's demeanor? Sayonara, everybody.